Hello, and welcome back to Ruben Uncut. Today, we're going on a journey. You see, someone has caught my attention, and I don't know enough about them, so we're going to be looking into them. Now, there are some things that I know about this person. Their name is Rollo Tomassi, and just to avoid any confusion, no, he is. I am not talking about the British mathcore band formed in Sheffield in 2005. Not talking about them. That's not the target of the video, so to speak. No, Rollo Tomassi is a gentleman from the Red Pill movement. For those not familiar with the Red Pill movement, the Red Pill movement is sort of a offshoot of men's rights theory, mostly purported by people who have the emotional intelligence of a 15-year-old boy who just got dumped, as they borrow liberally from a metaphor in the Matrix that they don't realize is for estrogen. That's what the red pill is. Yeah, fun fact. Red pill is estrogen. Estrogen. You know, the thing that makes you more feminine. How deeply ironic. It's also painfully ironic that somehow a line from a movie about people trying to comprehend the fact that they themselves were trans has somehow become the go-to move for toxic men to get into. Yeah, let's see where this goes. Let's see where it goes. Now, there are some things that need to be stated. Now, making my job a tiny bit harder, Rollo himself does not have a Wikipedia, apparently. If it exists, it doesn't come up when you type in Rollo Tomassi Wikipedia. All we get is the mathcore band from Sheffield. Now, apparently, Rollo does have a page on something called Wikitea? What the fuck? Wikitea, an encyclopedia by verified editors. Do you want to create a new page on Wikitea? Do you want to recommend edits on existing pages of Wikitea? This looks like Wikipedia with just more restrictions. Actually looks exactly like Wikipedia. All right, but anyways, according to this, Rollo Tomassi, born the 2nd of April, 1969. I think that makes him the beginning of a Gen X. He's an American author, YouTube personality, and podcaster, better known for his book series, The Rational Male. He is also known for his analysis on human behavior and sexual selection. Having a YouTube channel with over 150,000 subscribers where he publishes 3 to 4 hour analysis. We're not going to watch those. Holy shit. On behavior and interaction. Just so you know, unless this guy has like a psychological degree or something, there's no way this isn't bullshit. It doesn't list him as having work. Rollo's best-selling published book, The Rational Male, that due to its success became a series of 4 books. The Rational Male, 2013. The Rational Male, Preventative Medicine. I wonder what qualifies him to write on these very topics. The Rational Male, Positive Masculinity, and The Rational Male, Religion. I don't think he has a background in all of these. Tomassi has been married for 25 years and has a daughter. Actually, that's surprising. He often talks about marriage and how difficult it has become in modern society. He's a graphic designer. He's a graphic designer, and decided to use the name Rollo to protect his family at first. taking it out of the 1997 film L.A. Confidential, which, by the way, according to Wikipedia, is also where the mathcore band from Sheffield got that name. That actually explains a couple things. With his success, he became more comfortable with his private life, having worked with names such as Robert Kiyosaki, Zuby, or Jordan Peterson. Oh, and I'm sorry. I misread that. If I looked surprised, it's because I thought it was saying these were other names he had used. But no, these are other apparent people he's worked with. That makes a lot more sense and raises a lot less questions about why he would pick some of these names. Marriage in modern society has probably become difficult for a number of reasons, but normally when men are talking about that, they're specifically talking about the fact that getting women's harder when you don't have prearranged marriages. Now, he also has an entry on something. Wait a minute. I thought they were from England. Okay, so there's a British mathcore band that is Rollo Tomassi with 2 eyes, and there's a fucking post-grunge band from Illinois. It's Rollo Tomassi with 1 eye. Both these bands have Wikipedia. There's a website that has a review for the Rational Mail, summary, review, and criticism. Rational Mail, Volume 1, a summary of key takeaways. There is no the one. There are countless partners with whom you can have a great relationship. Statistically probably true. To control the relationship, I don't like that's a weird choice of words. Need her less than she needs you. Okay. They're basically describing using a person's emotions as leverage. Okay, great. Entertain several different women at once. It gives you an abundance mindset. Look, if you're doing polyamorous lifestyle, then that last one's not a problem. But if you do this specifically as a power move, if you do this specifically as a power move against your partner, that's fucked up. That's not how you should. Your relationship is not good. About the author, Rollo Tomassi, one of the leading voices in the male-focused online community known as the Red Pill. The Red Pill focuses on the intersexual sexual dynamics, seems redundant, and sexual power dynamics of the more gender male self-development. Rollo Tomassi is the author of Preventative Medicine and Positive Masculinity. Okay. Fuck it, we're going to go through the breakdowns of his book here. There's no the one. Tendency for Definitive Dictionary of Power defines one-itis as the... Wait a minute. Is this a legit website? I don't know. Tendencies for individual to pedestalize one woman, feel like she is the one, and it's either he gets her or he is desperate. Okay, so I will say putting women on a pedestal is not good. If you do that, you are essentially not looking at women as full human beings. You shouldn't put any human beings on a pedestal. You put a woman on a pedestal, it means that you have an idealized vision of women. You're not looking at women as human beings. You're looking at them as an idealized version of them. And if you do that, women will never live up to your standards or expectations. Or you'll lie to yourself about your woman's behavior so that you think they do. You see what I'm saying here? Let's move along. One-itis is an old concept harkening back to the very beginning of pickup and manosphere. Don't read these books. In one short, one-itis refers to men who obsess over a single specific woman. Actually, this is not a bad point. Don't do that. It's creepy. It freaks women out. So you would say that a man suffers from one-itis which, by the way, is an incredibly clumsy name, when he loses his mind for one woman and thinks she is so awesome that he must absolutely be with her, and he's ruined. I will tell you this is a bad idea, because this is the type of bullshit that leads to men, freaking out. You shouldn't. This is a bad mindset. This is a bad mindset to have. If you have this mindset, now he's going to say some weird bullshit, I'm sure. But the reason I don't want you to have this mindset is this is the kind of fucked up mindset that results in men not being able to handle breakups or rejections from these people they put onto pedestals. And sometimes, they go crazy and do fucked up shit. I don't want anybody to do any fucked up shit. Don't be this. Don't put this in your head. If a woman writes you off, you need to just move along. Move along. Being obsessive is psychotic and narcissistic. You might be doing it for a number of different reasons, and almost none of them are good. I really do think the media has created this problem where we have the concept of love has been presented to us as an obsession, and that's really not good. Rollo suggests that this is in part due to the mistaken belief of the one, such as there is a woman or man for you who is just right for you. Relationship. There's another reason that's a bad idea. Rollo is technically right, but let's see if it says why. And you just need to find her. Yeah, don't have that viewpoint. There are plenty of fish in the sea. And even if you did believe in this incredibly weird thing, then you need to look at the possibility that if there's some type of fate involved, don't obsess over a single woman. The person who you're fated to be will come into your life, even though I'm going to be honest with you, I would not encourage that line of thinking. Their secret to relationship power. Don't need her. Your relationships should not be about power. Okay? You don't want your relationship to be like an episode of Game of Thrones, where it's just you and your partner constantly planning political moves against each other to gain the power in the relationship. That's fucking weird. Rational male makes the point that whether or not you want to see relationships through the lens of power dynamics or not, it doesn't matter. That's exactly what someone who wants you to look at a relationship through power dynamics is going to say to you. But power dynamics are frequently the opposite of clear communication. Power dynamics will be at play anyways. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm a fucking idiot. Well, you just need to check this page URL to see that I couldn't agree more. It's called The Power Moves. This is clearly this website is going to be clearly biased towards Mr. Rollo's book here. Tomassi says the power in a relationship goes to the individual who needs the other the least, which is weird for a number of reasons. One, that is literally the idea. There is literally to have something to leverage against your partner. Like, that's weird. I'm sorry, but that's weird. You want leverage on your partner? What the fuck are you doing? It's not a healthy relationship. This is abuse. They're describing abusive things. Now, in fairness, since I'm on the spectrum, this gives me an undue advantage because even though I desperately need people, I have trouble. I will always look like I have the opposite problem because I won't be able to communicate it properly. But I'm not doing it for power dynamic reasons. I'm just autistic. Oh my God. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, this sentence made me go, ugh, and then I read the last part. I jumped to conclusions. Don't just be yourself, grow. Okay. I have not read the whole thing here, but I will say this. Part of life is growth. The design, you need to be working on yourself to some degree. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that means, okay? Because it's going to be different for all of us. My honest advice to you is the first thing you should look at in yourself is how you treat other people. And start asking yourself, why do you treat other people that way? And does it actually benefit you to treat people that way? Maybe you should be a better person by treating people around you better. That type of thing does have positive social consequences. Just so you know, it's called having friends and getting your dick sucked. Let me make this clarification to that previous statement. Being nice to people is not a guarantee to get your dick sucked, and no one owes sucking your dick for being nice or a decent person. What I'm trying to say is if you do treat people well, it's more likely that someone will want to suck your dick. Do you understand how those are different? This is important. These are very different concepts. You cannot buy affection with being a good person. But being a good person may result in people liking you more. You have to understand that these things, they're separate things. Okay, men? I know there's a lot of confusion amongst men about this, but it's very important. Being a nice guy does not earn you anything. Literally, everyone's just supposed to be doing what you're already doing. The fact is, does it feel unfair that being nice doesn't get you rewarded in life? I mean, yeah, but you should also ask yourself what your motivation to be nice is. Because some people have motivations to be nice for reasons that are not nice. But let's see what he actually says about this. Yes, you should grow as a person. Growth is good. I'm not telling you have to go to the gym, although going to the gym has benefited me personally in terms of both physical health and mental health. All right. Number 3, don't just be yourself. You know the old self-help mantra, right? It's just be yourself. Now, to be fair, there is a certain amount of truth to the concept of just being yourself. But what it really means is to be yourself in that moment, to accept who you are in that moment so that you can function in that moment. It is not necessarily antithetical to growth. However, that doesn't mean there aren't people in the world who don't interpret it that way. Also, technically, normally when someone gives this advice, they're talking about to someone who's worried about impressing another person. And when it comes to that, you should be yourself. Lying to people to impress them is a great way to fuck yourself over, just so you know. So let's see here. Tomassi criticizes the approach and invites readers to the rational male to focus on growth and self-development to become high-quality men. Technically, nothing wrong with this sentence, except for the term high-quality men. What does he mean by it? Now, this is a summary, so I can't blame him. He uses his own example of what happened to him when he started to truly work on himself. He went from worst bottom-scraping beta to rock star and alpha father. Now, once again, this is a summary. I can't tell you what he actually means by that, as it is just a bunch of buzzwords. What you do with your life and who you become in your life, says Rollo, is up to you. Okay, so far, everything has been, with the exception of his relationship advice so far, this has all been pretty standard self-helpery. Now to the fact this man is a graphic designer. And I'm not saying a graphic designer can't be very insightful about people. I'm just saying I don't know what about being a graphic designer entitles you to write a self-help book. And to be fair about that, Jim Belushi has a self-help book on masculinity. And as someone who's read it, it is funnier than it is useful. Let's see here. Number 4, plate theory. Date several women. This already sounds like a problem. Plate theory, at its essence, equates plates with women. Okay, already we're off to a wacky start. It says that men should not commit to a single woman and instead keep their options open. Note to the fact that we've already found out that Rollo here has been married for 25 years. I wonder how his wife feels about all of this. Spinning, i.e. spinning several plates. Okay, I'm familiar with the metaphor of spinning plates. I don't know why you would want to use that as a metaphor for your relationships. As I don't know if you've seen plate spinning, but a big part of it is some of them inherently always fall and break. Um, Now, to be fair, the point is how many can they keep spinning at a time? But it's kind of like the old 1980s video game missile command. You can try and protect as many cities as you can, but eventually some of them will be dead. To anyone who is young enough to not have any idea what I'm talking about, it was a video game that your parents played with quarters. All right, let's see what else it says here. Tomassi doesn't say a man should never commit. Wait a minute. Okay, I guess there is a difference between never and should not. But he does recommend not doing so before 30 or before he fully understands the lifetime value of men and women and what he really wants from life and the dynamics of the sexual marketplace. Sexual marketplace is the kind of idea you have when you're 15. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Writes Rollo Tomassi. This one's apparently a quote from the book. Man is as confident and valuable as his options. This is the essence of abundance mindset. Confidence is derived from options. Okay, fair enough, I guess. However, that confidence can be false. As someone who's been there and done that. Spinning plate for abundance mentality, spinning different plates, still a terrible metaphor, doesn't mean that he must be sexual with all of them or that he must keep spinning them all. Okay, and maybe it's the autism speaking here, but this sounds like hell. This sounds like a literal hellscape to live your life. I don't know why. I mean, I guess if it makes you, it sounds like an addiction. It's an inherently stressful thing that gives you confidence. What is this, cocaine? Spinning plate for best girlfriend choice. Spinning plates allows men to gain more dating and female knowledge to discern low quality women from, Jesus Christ, from high quality women. Okay, look, I don't like this language, mainly because it's very cringy. That being said, you will in life find that there are lots of people with damage. And damage is the number one thing that's kind of going to get all up in your space, okay? Everyone's got their damage. And if the people aren't addressing their damage, then that damage they tend to spread it out. So you are going to want to look out for like what kind of partner would work best for you. What are you compatible with? What brings out the worst in you? Now, the thing is a lot of the things that goes into this isn't really necessarily a matter of quality. It's more a matter of what types of particular traits can a human being have that you can be functional with. Also, I've seen people ask Rollo Tomassi directly what he thinks a high quality man is, and he has literally said that it is relative to the culture, which is like, if that's what it is, Rollo, then why should we ever listen to you on anything specific? Let's see here. Indeed, I would add that quantity is not antithetical to quality. Quantity is an enabler of quality. Now, okay, so here's a truth bomb about relationships, okay? Frequently, the quality of your relationship can be related to the amount of quantity of your time you put into it. So if you are constantly spreading your time amongst many spinning plates, there is a possibility it will negatively impact the quality of other relationships. Now, once again, I'm not trying to talk you out of polyamory here. If that's your life, that's your life. But in a healthy polyamorous situation, everyone in the situation is on even playing field. That's sort of the idea. That's not what's being described here. When you want to stop with a woman, you know that it was a choice you have done based on options and knowledge and not on desperation. Now, there is some truth to that. You should not just settle down with whoever will take you. You need to keep an eye out for red flags, even if you think, hey, this abusive Nazi drug dealer is the only person who will ever love me. There's a lot of red flags there. Be the prize, which is interesting because that is actually a very feminine concept from dating. Well, the way relationships used to work, this was sort of the way that women were positioned in relationships, as the prize. That was the traditional sort of positioning. So this is an interesting one here. This sort of flips that idea on its head, which is interesting. But then again, as someone who's paid attention to this type of thing can tell you, traditionalists and red pillars are not the same people. When you are the prize, women will also accept non-exclusivity more because, see, that actually doesn't make sense. Okay, if there's a prize, typically a prize is something you get to keep. If you don't have exclusivity with the prize, have you really won the prize? What was the prize? A timeshare? Is this guy talking about making his dick a timeshare? Once again, I am not judging people who have consensual polyamorous relationships here. This is not that. This is about using power and leverage to bang whoever you want. Women would rather, here is a depressingly common thing I have heard in the red pill spaces. Women would rather share a successful man than be saddled with a faithful loser. What? There's a lot of questions here. First of all, this is not a real scenario. This is a hypothetical scenario. It's not even fully a scenario. This is meant to be a saying. And sayings can be used to manipulate your way of thinking. Unplugging and taking the red pill, unplugging or taking the red pill, once again reminding you that that is estrogen, is common red pill parlance for coming to see things as they really are. Realists are just pessimists who want to be taken seriously. In this case, it would be men dropping the mistaken assumption from society and embracing the manosphere and theories and tenets. I will tell you right now, manosphere theories do not line up with reality. How do I know that? Because losers fuck all the time. Now, you might say, I'm a loser and I don't fuck all the time. But let me tell you right now, there's a lot of different kinds of losers in the world. And some losers are losers at everything, but convincing people to have sex with them. That's a thing. They can't keep a job. They can't keep friends. They can't maintain stable relationships, but they can talk a woman into having sex with them. These people exist. And some of them aren't even attractive. In this case, Rollo Tomassi says there are typical stages of the red pill awakening. No. They're just they're just the grieving things. They're just the stages of grieving. Like oh Jesus. Rollo Tomassi says these are denial, refusing to let go of previous beliefs. This is the thing people do. Anger, awareness, the pill makes sense. Anger at society for feeding wrong ideas. Also, this right here. Society is the zeitgeist. Okay? Society is rarely fully intentional. Society is made up of the intentions of thousands of people interacting on a daily basis. To talk about getting angry at society for feeding us the wrong ideas, What we really mean is that we are angry at the choices people in society are making, even though we don't know who those people are or why they're making those choices. Number 3, bargaining, trying to keep some old beliefs. I mean, statistically, you're not going to be right or wrong about everything. So I don't know if there's any real meaning to bargaining here. Number 4, depression. The red pill can be a tough one to swallow. Yeah, because red pill is very doomerist. I can't help but notice that a lot of like incels who move towards the red pill typically don't stop being incels, is what I'm saying. Acceptance, becoming a knowledgeable, healthy, rational male. Yeah, okay. Men's market value increases, women's decrease. Oh my God. Let's talk about this because I've heard red pill people talk about this before and it is crap. Only, like, literally, the problem with these ideas is that these are all true of people that are extremely shallow. It's a very shallow way of looking at the world and categorizing people. Men's market value increases, women's decreases. Our current culture pretends that men and women are the same, but that's crap, implies Rollo. So, like, right here, this is starting off with a misunderstood premise. Men and women are all human. Okay, so in that level, we are the same. Okay, men and women in America all live inside a democracy, which means we all have autonomous. We are all autonomous. We have our own rights as individuals. Therefore, in our society, women and men are equal. And in certain ways, men and women are even the same, but there are also ways that men and women are different. This is the type of statement that is deliberately designed to come off as it's supposed to tap into your intuition so you don't analyze it critically because it sounds right. Because the thing that we grow up knowing is, a thing that is pounded into our minds is that we are different. The idea that we are not different is absurd. And the idea that there are people telling you that we are not different is also absurd. But on a certain level, we also are the same. Men and women both have we have lots of similar traits. We have a lot of the same biology. We like to pretend like we don't have the same biology. We do have certain biological differences and physiological differences, but we also, by and large, are much more the same to each other as, say, a human being is to a lion, a tiger, or a banana. You would have more in common with a real woman than a robot woman. Do you understand where I'm going with this? Okay, let's continue. And nowhere is this more visible than the sexual marketplace. Once again, this is how 15-year-olds think about getting laid. Women reach their peak at around 23 years old. What? Okay, well, first of all, a woman's sexual prime doesn't actually start until she's women's sexual prime, as it's referred to, typically starts between the ages of 28 and 35. Men's sexual prime is actually much younger than women's. So that's interesting. That doesn't line up with this. But of course, what they're actually talking about is the shallow evaluation of a woman's attractiveness. While women start their ascension peaking at 36. It's an interesting age to choose, seems random. At age 23, while a girl is enjoying her prime value, how are we assigning value? So this is a big thing right here. What is the value assigned by? How are we measuring this value? A man is just beginning to make his own gradual ascent. By age 36, the average man has reached his own relative apex. It's at this phase that his sexual, social, professional appeal has reached maturity. Whoa. Based on what, man? Okay, I've got some bad news for you. These are made-up numbers. Men do not all mature at the same rate. Often, maturity is a matter of the lessons we have had to learn in life. And people don't learn all the same lessons in the same order because a lot of the hardest lessons are not things you can be taught in school, which causes individuals to mature uniquely. Are there averages to this maturation? Sure. But what we're reading now is not based on research or data. This is something that they have made up based on what age they think women are most attractive. Oh, wait, 23 years old and 36. You know what? This is from that fucking, what is it, OK Cupid or Tinder data that red pillars are always talking about. And if you don't understand what taking data from a hookup app to try and judge all this stuff is, I don't know what to tell you. While women's market value is mostly consequence of their physical attractiveness, see, this is what I'm talking about. That's the only measurement? Are you kidding me? Male attractiveness is only one factor. What about even the stereotypical aspects of women's what women bring to a relationship? Like that stuff that traditional people are always talking about, like cooking and cleaning and taking care of the kids. Those things have incredibly high relationship value, especially for men who want to have kids, which we'll get to another thing about. We'll get to that in a minute. A woman's market value is mostly a consequence of their physical attractiveness. Male attractiveness is only one. Thus, a rich 50-year-old will be more value than an average run-of-the-mill 30-year-old. That can hardly be the case for women. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this is a Gen X thing. From what I can tell, millennials and Gen Z are a little bit more weirded out from giant age gaps. From what I can tell, from interacting with them. I don't mean dating them. I mean just talking to them. Sexual market value, a practical analysis. That's insane. There's no such thing as a practical analysis of sexual marketplace value because it's literally just morons trying to put ideas into boxes so that they can more easily keep track of them. Women are duped into losing strategy. Tomassi also seems to suggest that the current cultural climate of women being the same as men leads them to the mistaken assumption that they have time. Oh boy. But when they reach their 30s, after they spent their early 20s partying, they eventually realize, sometimes too late, that their value is dropping fast. Okay, so like this is like the whole thing. Like the red pill's goal with women is to basically gaslight them into wanting to get married immediately, as soon as they can. The author of this website says, I tend to agree with that. Of course you do. Of course you agree with that. You're reviewing this book at all. How to keep a woman's interest. Tomassi says you should never say it outright that you are seeing other women. That's called cheating. Now, in fairness, if you happen to be talking to more than one woman before you have committed to anyone, that's kind of, I mean, if no one has a serious commitment involved, it's kind of fine, but I don't feel like that's what he's talking about. You should make it clear, though, that you are not ready for a commitment, or you are stealing her time. I guess that's fair. And lying to get pussy, which is what low quality men do. But okay, hold on. You just said you should never say it outright that you were seeing other women. Okay, I understand. Being cagey and withholding information is still kind of deception, man. Tomassi recommends let her glean from your behavior that you have options. Don't be too available. Don't get there for her during the weekends. What is that? Don't be there for her during the weekends. Oh my God, I think I read that backwards. Don't be there for her during the weekends. Rollo, when do you want to do things? I mean, what the fuck is that? 8. Shit test. Women test men to determine one or more of these factors. Confidence, first and foremost. Options, is he into me or am I the only option? And security. Is he able to provide long term. Okay, so partners testing you is a thing, and it's kind of lame. These are not things that, and it's kind of lame. Like, everything in this list here is something you shouldn't have to test for. These are all things you should be able to get just from interacting with a human being. What is their confidence? That should be obvious. What are their options? I mean, this isn't really, is this a thing that women test for if you have options? I don't know if that makes sense, actually. Security is you. Once again, a thing that you would figure out from getting to know a person, finding out about their job, and spending time with them and finding out what kind of person they are. I find, or at least I assume, that women are typically checking more for things like, is this person a douchebag? Or is this person safe? I feel like these are much bigger tests that women are likely to give men. Although there is a certain level of testing that is, manipulative. So, ladies and men who do this, evaluate what kind of tests you're giving people. As general rule, though, I recommend testing women instead of focusing on passing her test. Oh, it's more power dynamic stuff. Since it's the person who tests the other who has power. Also read the judge role in power dynamics. Okay, so this advice could easily backfire depending on how subtly manipulative you are. Because if a woman doesn't want to be tested, you're about to find out how many options she has. And here's a fun thing. Okay, women almost always have more options. Literally, a lot of what Rollo is describing here is literally the kind of advice he's describing dating women like the worst women date men. That's kind of what's going on here. Tell women to leave a tip. Tell her, get that baby. See how she reacts. Hint, feminists get angry at the word baby. Get that baby. Am I reading this right? No, it is tell her, get that baby. Feminists get angry at the word baby. No, I think what feminists get angry at is if you call them baby when you're being condescending. The Alpha Buddha. The Alpha Buddha. Jesus Christ. That's like, none of this is Buddha. Okay? Nothing in here is Zen. 100%. Nothing here is Buddhist. This is power. Buddhism is not about power dynamics. Buddhism is about not needing anything. This is, oh my God. Listening to The Rational Male, I was curious to see Corey Worthington's interview for Tomassi exemplifies alpha male behavior. Oh God, I guess this is what we're gonna watch this.
Well, it's the real-life risky business. A teenager holds an alcohol-fueled party for hundreds of kids while his unsuspecting parents are on holiday. 16-year-old Corey Worthington is now facing not only the wrath of mum and dad, but a $20,000 fine from police. I spoke to him a short time ago. Corey, thanks for joining us. The only question that I can think to ask is, what...
Yeah, this looks like a bit. Is this a real person? Good God.
What were you thinking?
I wasn't really.
I mean, obviously, he's dressed like that and he's from Australia and he threw a rager.
Did your parents say you could have a party?
No.
So,
they didn't.
Why did you?
I don't know, it was just a get-together with a couple mates at first, and then we thought we might as well just have a bit of a party, and then it sort of just got out of hand, and yeah.
Well, 500 people turned up, the air wing of the police force, the dog squad, your neighbours' cars were being destroyed. What have your parents had to say, Corey?
I haven't really talked to them because every time they call, I don't answer. Because, yeah, they'll probably try to kill me.
So that's a short-term strategy. You're going to have to
Wait, you're afraid of what your parents are going to say and you went on the news? This can't be real. Is this real?
Talk to them eventually. What are you going to say?
Sorry.
Are you sorry?
Yeah, I am.
You don't sound very sorry.
But I can't be exactly blamed for everything that happened because it wasn't in the house, it was out in the street, and I didn't do it. Like, the police said, you stay inside so you don't get in trouble, so I did what he said, so...
Why don't you take this opportunity now to apologise to your parents and to your neighbours who have said today that they were frightened?
Well, I've already offered, like, to say sorry to them and stuff when I see them, so... I will say sorry now for everything that happened.
Why don't you take your glasses off so we can see you? And then apologise to your neighbours for frightening them.
Nah, I'll leave these on. Nah, I like them.
They might be fined $20,000. Are you going to try and...
Oh my god. What a... is Australia really this stupid?
Pay that for them?
Yeah, but I don't think it's fair they'll be fined it because what happened, it was my party, but it could have just been any random person walking in the street doing it. What happens all the time.
Your parents were out of town, you put out the invitation, you started it. Why don't you make a grown-up decision now and accept responsibility, take off those glasses and apologise to everybody that you frightened, to the police who were forced to retreat and whose cars have been damaged, and to the...
Is Rollo really saying this guy is an alpha? This guy's just a dumbass.
Community who've had to pay for this. Take off your glasses and apologise to us.
I'll say sorry, but I'm not taking off my glasses.
Why not?
Because they're famous.
Because your glasses are famous.
Yeah.
Why are your glasses famous?
I know, everyone likes them, so I know, I'm not taking off.
You're pretty happy with the way you look and the attitude you've got, are you?
Yeah, my parents...
Yeah, this is a person who makes good life decisions right here.
Parents aren't, but I am.
Okay, Corey, we've got to wrap this up, but what would you say to other kids who were thinking of partying when their parents are out of town?
Get me to do it for you.
Get you to do it for you, not don't do it.
Nah, get me to do it for you. Best party ever so far. That's what everyone's been saying, so...
Well, we've got to go, but I suggest you go away.
Whoever this Australian kid is, he learned nothing.
And take a good long hard look at yourself.
I have. Everyone has. They love it.
Corey Worthington.
Okay. That Rollo Tomassi describes that guy as alpha male behavior. No, that guy's just a dumb asshole. Are you serious? And this website even agrees. It's awesome indeed. What in the absolute hell? So why am I talking about this guy? Well, because I was bored and I needed something to talk about. But also, the thing that Rollo Tomassi did, and this is what he looks like, by the way. Although I will admit, I wish I had his hair. Although it's under that, that's the kind of hat you wear when you're bald. I don't know if you have to. Can we? Oh, is there any? Oh, is he balding? I mean, I'm balding, but I'm wearing it with pride, son. Wearing it with pride. Wearing it with pride. I say that, but I'm also using minoxidil. We'll see where that goes. I might just have to get used to having a skullet. But yeah, this is Rollo Tomassi's YouTube, The Rational Male, where he hosts his podcasts. Feminism never admits defeat. Kind of when crypto culture needs the red pill. Okay. Those red pill guys. The end of Fresh and Fit. Access Vegas. What is... I don't know. He doesn't have a real Wikipedia. Even the not Wikipedia pages for him barely have anything useful about him. But let's take a look at some of his shorts.
They fix that. Let me explain something to you about boundaries, because I was talking about, I've harped on this for a very long time. boundaries mean nothing unless there is some sort of consequence to those. Okay, there's
so that, but that's controlling, though, dude. That's controlling.
No, it's not controlling.
Why are you controlling people?
So here's the thing. So I'm going to use another extreme example. Guys have hit me up all the time. They'll say, "Rollo, my girlfriend or my wife, whatever she wants, she comes to me and she says, hey, I want to go and have a girls' weekend out in Vegas. I want to go have a girls' night out. I want to go and do these things. Is that okay with you? Are you okay with that?" And really, that's really more in a relationship sense. That's a shit test. Okay. It's not about the permission. It's not about whether or not you're okay with it or not. It's the fact that she wants to go in the first place. So what I tell guys is say, yeah, sure, have fun. You go out with your girlfriends. That's what you want to do. Sure, go ahead, honey. I support that, right? She comes back, all her shit's on the sidewalk and all the locks on the doors.
And I
They fix that. Let me explain something.
Wow. Okay. That's.
Women
feel like
don't
that's
get
just
married
saying
until
for
right
attention.
around 29 years old right now. I mean, it's getting pushed further and further back. People want to say, oh, well, it's because we've empowered women and they're going to school and they've got careers. And no, bullshit. They want to hold out because they believe that they have more choice than they actually do. And then it bites them in the ass when they get past the 31-year-old mark, whether you want to call it at the wall or whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Right. Once they get past that, they become yellowed pearls. They're not undesirable, but they become less desirable than the 23-year-olds, that the guys that they want to get with at that during that time of their lives, assuming they're high value guys, that they can only hold out for the high value guys. They're not interested in a 31-year-old. They're interested in a 21-year-old.
Okay, so here's another thing about the red pills that they get wrong is that statistically, the age gaps between most couples are only about, the highest is normally about 3 years. Now, there are outliers of really high age gaps, but typically, on average, the age gap in a relationship is typically about 3 years. If I'm remembering that statistic correctly, it might be 2 years, but I think it's 3.
I didn't know who Kevin Samuels was, but people kept telling me this guy named Kevin Samuels.
Just, Kevin, I'm not going to comment on Kevin Samuels, but he is one of the people who helped destroy the internet.
Repeating your words.
Right.
So I reached out to him and asked him to come on the show.
Being a booty call is exactly like being in the friend zone. It's the analogy. It's analogous. It's the parallel to being.
I don't know where he's going with this, but I will say that there are several differences there. One, the only thing those two relationships have in common is that it's unlikely for you to get married. But people who are in the friend zone are not going to agree with this take that he is having. If you have a friends with benefits, you're not looking to marry that person, typically. But who knows? Sometimes you do.
In the friend zone. Because what is a booty call? It is 100% sex. It's all sex and no emotional investment. That's what it is. You know what being in the friend zone is? 100% emotional investment and no sex whatsoever.
I don't know if he knows what analogous means, having heard him just describe that. Comparable in certain respects, typically in a way which makes clear the nature of the things they compared. I still kind of think he's not using the word analogous right there. I mean, he is making an analogy, but I think his comments undermine the analogy.
It's the exact opposite of it. That's the difference between a booty call and, well, different. That's the similarities between a booty call and being in the friend zone. Congratulations, you're complaining about being in the friend zone. So what do you tell guys that are in the friend zone? Get out of the friend zone. Stop doing that. Stop investing in that person because you're not, it's not going anywhere. And you're not a bad person for saying, thanks, but no thanks. I have enough friends. Do the same thing. Ladies, if you're sick of being a booty call and being in hookup culture, it's not the guy's fault. It's your fault for being in there. I would say the exact same.
Interesting. Okay. I see what I'm already tired of this. And I'm tired of everything else. So yeah, that's Rollo Tomassi. Before I go, just a couple of things. First of all, let's talk about the thing he said about the friend zone and the booty call zone or whatever. First of all, he is right in his advice. If you find yourself in a situation where you have found yourself in a situation where you don't want to be a booty call, or you realize that you need to emotionally invest in other places and you just can't with this person, then yes, you should fade out of that person's life. However, I do want to point out some things about the friend zone. First of all, the friend zone is an interesting concept because, and yes, there are some people who say it doesn't exist, but I'm not going to make that argument. I believe the friend zone does exist. However, the reason that the complaint of the friend zone itself is kind of bullshit is because that is simply the default zone. Most people you get to know will be in your friend zone, and you typically don't notice if you have been friend zoned by a person you also just want to be friends with. Now, there's a lot of people out there who get friend zoned because they have this obsession with a person who doesn't feel that way about them. And let me tell you right now, don't be that person, okay? Because typically, if you're that person, you often mistake yourself for another kind of person, which is the friend that falls in love. You know, they were childhood friends, they didn't have any romantic connection. Then, some point as they grew up, they suddenly realized they'd had a spark. That's what guys in the friend zone want to be. But the thing is that that situation can't be planned, because it requires you to start out in a position of wanting to be in the friend zone. You can't come into the friend zone and be like, my entire goal is to not be in the friend zone. Because if you're going to be friends with people, it needs to be genuine. And if you try and have genuine friendships with people, you are more likely to learn what you need to learn about meeting a woman. And you are also more likely to meet a woman who might be into you. In fact, if anyone's profile says demisexual, you may want to start out as friends. In fact, that's probably the best way to get a longer lasting relationship out of a demisexual person, because they won't be automatically attracted to you until at some point further down the line, they've become emotionally engaged with you. The other thing is that how closely you are of a friend is not related to your attractiveness. A person can easily be your friend if they don't find you attractive. But you, as a person who finds them attractive with the goal of you somehow getting them to be attracted to you, you are working from the opposite end, and that's always going to put you in this position where you are playing a game by yourself. You should not do that to yourself. You are better off asking people out, getting rejected, and moving on. Now, that's not easy. Trust me, that's not easy. But it is the muscle in your brain you need to grow. You see, a lot of this red pill stuff comes from fear. It is based on men's fear of women and their inability to get women. The thing that first drew my attention to Rollo Tomassi is that Rollo Tomassi previously kind of got noticed for encouraging his followers to get vasectomies and then reverse the vasectomies once they had successful careers. Now, there's a couple problems with this. Now, first of all, yes, I know, feminists. I've seen the meme. What if we gave all men vasectomies and then they could just reverse them when they were actually ready to have a relationship? It's a great idea. Unfortunately, medical science says that's not how anything works. You see, I once looked into getting a vasectomy, and there's some things you need to know about it. First of all, it is a privilege to freeze your sperm. Only people with privilege will be able to get a vasectomy, but also save their sperm, because that shit costs fees. I don't know I think they're annual fees, but I don't remember how much it costs. But I did find that off-putting. The second thing is that the doctor there tried to make it very clear to me on the subject of reversing vasectomies, which is if you get it reversed within the first year, there is a 74% success. There is a 74% chance of success. Meaning that if all men got a vasectomy and then reversed it within the first year of it, approximately 26% of men will now be sterile. And also, that percentage slowly drops the further away from your vasectomy you get. Now, that being said, there are people who successfully reverse their vasectomies. My uncle reversed his vasectomy and they had another child. It is a thing that can be done. However, statistically, a percentage of the people who get it done will not be able to reverse it. So that's a thing you should be aware of with vasectomies, and why you shouldn't listen to Rollo Tomassi in getting a vasectomy when you're in your 20s and waiting until you are 36 to get it reversed. Because by that point, you'll be lucky, profoundly lucky, if it can be reversed. Rollo Tomassi, like the rest of the red pill, it's just people trying to make sense of a thing that is inherently complicated. What is that complicated thing? The answer is relationships. Relationships are incredibly complicated. And not everyone has learned that yet. Men live in fear of a little thing called divorce and dying alone. In fact, the way people in many ways, like the way men on the internet talk about divorce, they don't like it almost sounds like it is as big a deal to men as being sexually assaulted is to women. Although I'm going to be honest with you here, men, I think women have the more traumatic thing here. Okay? I'm sure divorce is very traumatic. I'm sure divorce sucks. I'm sure it makes you feel like shit about yourself, and it makes you feel betrayed. I'm sure it does. Although, to be fair, not all divorces go down like that. Sometimes men ask for the divorce, and sometimes divorces are amicable. However, still, men, I assure you, there are worse things that can happen to you than divorce. In fact, when it comes to a divorce, there are advantages that you're going to have versus someone who gets separated that doesn't have those advantages. Take me, for instance. I never married the mother of my children. I never did, because I thought it was a mistake, because we knew we didn't really feel like we were meant to last. So it felt like a mistake. I never did. However, if I had, it would have created a process through which I could be able to put in more securities that allow me to see my children. Because there would have been a process of negotiating those types of things during the divorce. By not getting married, I robbed myself of that process. Now, that process would have sucked, but I would have potentially gotten more parental rights if that process had existed. I've looked into my parental rights now as a person who wasn't married, and it turns out, and every time I've talked to someone, they're like, your best option is to just work it out with the mother. Because that's where I am now, because I didn't have that process. I love my kids, and I wish I could see them more. Currently, things between me and their mother are not bad, but I would like to see them more. And if I'd gone through a divorce process, maybe the familial infrastructure for that would be in place. The process would be in place, I mean. So those are just some things to think about, men. Well, anyways, this has been Ruben Ryan. Hope you enjoyed this podcast here, please like and subscribe or follow. I know they don't call it subscribe on Spotify, which is my main platform, but it's easier to say. Even though subscription, although on Spotify, I guess subscribe implies subscriptions. You could give me money. I don't know. But anyways, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe or follow wherever you are. If you would like to contact the show, you can email me at rubenuncut@gmail.com. You can also find this podcast on YouTube at Ruben Uncut. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful whatever.